So we're gonna have very interesting conversation here,
We do these from time to time.
allegedly, and this is about publicity stunts of different musical artists of trying to promote their album or their work or bullshit. And if people have taken it too far, if it's a good thing, and just so weiter or what, well, okay,
Etc.
etc. Of okay, should people keep doing it? Should we just cut the red tape and say fuck it, that's not happening anymore, or what?
Right. And the reason we're kind of having this conversation, which I think will lead into like why we're having it, and then the other questions you had of should we continue doing it, would be this past month has been a great example for publicity stunts of different kinds. Kanye West's whole rollout and public meltdown. Some will say, "Oh, that's not a publicity stunt. That's his mental illness." I disagree vehemently. Then there's the publicity stunt around the rap beef, because I don't think people remember this, but Drake was at the little Wyoming hideout with Kanye at some point, and that's the whole label was there. So Pusha T was around there, and so.
Surprised no one got shot.
I mean, I'm not saying anything. I'm not just
So
saying.
does that mean
I'm a little bit of
is Kanye a robot now?
I'm a little bit of conspiracy theorist because of that. Because I don't know if Pusha T was at that thing, but Drake and Kanye were there, so maybe did Drake leave himself vulnerable there? I don't know, but my point is that whenever you see these things orchestrated happening out in the open, there's a very good reason for it. It's because it gets attention, it gets headlines, people talk about it, and if you're talking about the fact that Elon Musk and Grimes are dating and that Grimes is going to change her name, then you're also eventually talking about Grimes, who happens to be releasing an album that's coming out soon. Pusha T, who had just released an album. Drake, who's going to be releasing an album soon. Like
Kanye releasing 2 albums, allegedly.
Kanye's whole label and Pusha T's whole label releasing shit all this month. And so, like, that...
Ouch.
We're talking about these people, which is different from how publicity for music used to be. Because usually you'd have, like, commercials and media spots, and you do like interviews and go around, kind of like what the 1975 did, kind of like what Gorillaz did. It's kind of the old way of doing things, but in an era where that kind of old form of advertisement's kind of boring. I mean, even Vince Staples, his allure is that he's very like direct and hard hitting,
straightforward, and
straightforward, doesn't hold back, and people like that. And I think that's a form of genuineness that can be okay when you're like an artist. And I think he used it to his advantage in a way that's pretty good. But we can go into that later. But okay, I guess when is a good case for when a publicity stunt is invalid? Like what? I guess let's get your take on it. Like, where do you want to start?
Oh shit, I don't even know where I want to start.
Like,
what do you mean go like
okay.
Where it goes too far, where it crosses the line?
Yeah, what's your line for you then? What's the line for you when it comes to publicity stunts?
If it is very obvious that you're doing something that's fake, that's my line. As in fake rap beef, something like you're going on a talk show and just spouting garbage that doesn't make sense, saying something very, very controversial, but maybe you don't believe it per se. Like that's, I mean, a lot of political pundits do that in general too. A lot of
they make careers off of that.
Make careers off of that, exactly. So people like that, for artists, that's my line. If you start promoting shit that isn't, your ideas aren't real, basically, you're doing it yourself. Oh, you're not doing it yourself, but you're doing it just to promote your album, but it's not true to your beliefs, then that's where I'm crossing the line. It's like, okay, say like Kanye, that slavery was a choice, shit like that. Like if he really believes that, you're fucking stupid beyond belief and ignorant, and like, you could say a whole line of things,
and I could say a couple more.
You could say a couple more, exactly. But if it's something that he doesn't believe, but he's just saying it to get more attention, then okay, you're crossing that line. Don't be doing that, because then you're soiling the art.
So you're kind of saying that by being fake, I guess, that kind of soils the aspect of music. So can you draw out that connection, I guess? So to you, music has to come from a place of realness, or like, can you draw that out a bit more? Because let's take Gorillaz, for example. They're literally fake. They're a fake band. They don't actually exist.
Yeah.
But And that's part of their publicity. The idea is they can do weird publicity stunts as cartoons, sort of as a commentary around it.
Yeah, but that's how they started too.
Right.
That's what they've been doing since their inception
Right.
of the band. That was why one of the reasons why the band was created as animations. But you see it with their musical works and everything. It's not all fake like that. That makes sense.
Right.
The music is coming from a place. Damon Albarn really goes into some of his songs. So it's not like something that Kanye's done.
Yeah.
Where Kanye makes giant publicity stunts and then his music isn't that good. But then the lyrics in his music is going up to those, going to what his publicity stunts are.
Right.
That makes sense.
The lyrics are making a direct reference. So
yeah, exactly.
The music is a reflection of the publicity and the fame.
Yeah, and then the music almost starts to become fake in that way. And you could tell why the production of it or the lyrics, just the overall quality of that music is shit. And that's what's been going on for past 10, 15 years of a lot of music in general, where it gets super generic because of it. People keep doing a lot of the same publicity stunts. They keep doing random shit that try to get people just to make more money. And that's when the art starts not to become an art form anymore. It becomes a business. It becomes a way to make money, and that's the only thing you think of. And when that happens, then that's when the art form goes away.
Right.
I mean, because you could look at it, like Kanye's, some of his earlier works, fantastic.
And I think those earlier
College
works,
Dropout, fantastic.
I think those earlier works
Graduation,
come from
good.
a more genuine place.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And
that's
now
why
it's
people
now
relate to it.
now it's the business model of let's do shit because I'm a popular artist and I'm gonna say some shit and that maybe I don't believe in, and that's the way to get up. Or you'll have different rap beefs, or you'll have random shit that people will start saying or spouting, and then that's a way for them to get up into more markets and stuff, and then maybe that's what their record label tells them to do as well. So I think it's a whole thing of what the hell are you doing? Because then some cool things are, like 1975 have done this.
Well, actually, before we get to cool things, I want to just elaborate because we can talk more about like good examples because I think what we're kind of ultimately getting at is this issue or this dichotomy between there's an art and then there's getting the art out to people. And there's an incentive to do publicity stunts because a lot of people aren't media savvy, and so it works for it works on a lot of people. A lot of people like to get involved in the drama and actually bring bigger work to that. And I think it's a negative cycle that reinforces itself because the more people are involved in the drama, the less they're involved in the music. And then the artist goes, okay, I embrace this drama to get this thing I ultimately want, which is more exposure for my music. But the more you're doing that, the less you're actually focusing on the music, and that's how the art itself gets diluted. And you can see that there in a way you really made very clear for me. In Kanye's album, Ye, the most recent one, where he rewrote it as a result of this whole media blitz. And then that's an exact example of where Kanye took the fame and the periphery world surrounding art, like the distribution and media process and all of that, and gave in more into that than the fucking music. That's the whole reason why you're there. The reason you're releasing an album and not a series of a compilation of your rants on TV shows. Like, that's not the finished product. But he decided to put almost less work and thought into the finished product than he did into the publicity stunt, which is really the downfall of it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I've been saying.
Yeah. So now we can get to publicity stunts that you like, because ultimately there is that.
There's a fine line.
How do artists, like the old way of artists getting their music out isn't as effective, and you can do things better by
on social media and shit.
Yeah.
Which is like what 1975 they just did, which I said earlier, where they put posters all around England and fans and people start posting it on Twitter, and then big music magazines or music bloggers, whatever, they start pulling up, hey, look, they're starting to do some cryptic shit like, oh, what's going to happen? Are they going to release a new album? Keep saying the 1st of June. Let's wait. Let's hear what's the idea, what's going on. Or before Moonshaped Pool for Radiohead, they deleted all of their social media presence, wiped everything clean for the same reason. Gorillaz have done shit like that too. I mean, those are just stuff of our favorite bands, but there's other ways of, like, people have gone on of they'll just release a random single or something like that as well, and then that's a way for them to get up, and then or they'll go on a talk show or something and say, hey, literally we're just gonna release this in a month, and then and then that'll be news for a little bit.
There's
so many different ways of doing it,
and I like the original examples you gave with 1975 Gorillaz, all of those, because those are coordinated rollouts in which they understand the media just as well as Publicity Stunts do, because they understand that if you don't tell the media what's going on, they have to guess and speculate. They're playing that
fine line.
And the media loves to speculate and assume and guess because that builds hype. And then you build hype among your fans by making things cryptic and secret and putting things they can relate to and like. And you do that over a certain period of time, and that builds the energy, that builds the momentum. People start talking about it organically, and then you start releasing singles. Or you just like go radio silent, release a surprise single. I mean,
which you can do.
You can make your art into a publicity stunt. Exactly. Like for Gambino's This Is America, that happened in May, and that was a coordinated release where he did Saturday Night Live the same time. He released, and he made this video, this very shocking thing, but it worked.
And then he had like Solo just came out last weekend, and he stars in that as well. So that's a way for him to, hey, look at this. Now we're gonna see a bunch of different things and roles that I've done. So now more people can look into it. That's another good way too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different stuff instead of just lying, basically, or creating fakeness. There's a lot of different ways to get media hype, because social media is, I mean, it is a double-edged sword at the end of the day, but it's also a great way to get it out. And there's so many different ways on social media that you can do it without basically becoming an asshole.
Precisely.
More or less.
But, you know, it's really seductive to do these bullshit media campaigns, and we're going to keep seeing them. So I just hope that if you get any takeaway from consuming this piece of content, listening or
content,
it's that artists know how to play the media and use the media to its advantage. And I hate these like antagonistic, oh, the media just does this, the media just does that. I think oftentimes the media is scapegoated and strawman to do for people's individual agendas. And they feed off of the fact that we all kind of have this inherent lack of understanding of how the media works. We have a very justifiable distrust of certain media organizations, depending on who we are. But ultimately, the media is full of good actors and bad actors. And so is the rest of the world. Artists, they're good actors and bad actors. The best thing you can do is learn to see through what's going on. Learn to contextualize it so you can say, okay, is this person doing a publicity stunt for, like, why are they doing this? What have they got to sell, essentially? Because that's capitalism in the end. It's all just marking a product.
Kein Politik mehr.
We had to hit the line somewhere.
Right. Well,
any last points?
I think that's good.
All right.
People. Well, thanks for listening / watching.
Yes, if you liked that conversation, then there are a bunch more in the Audioface archives, which are totally free. Just subscribe to our podcast.
No, you have to pay $100,000 per listen.
No, you have to pay by rating the podcast 5 stars on iTunes, or liking this video if you're watching it, or by sharing it however the hell you do that.
Do it, please.